And we should now be live. Good evening, everybody. Just going to give things a second to make sure they're working. It appears to be. How are we all doing? Hello, Evo. At least I hope I'm coming through. I've had a few problems with Streamlabs, which is why things are starting a little bit late. Ah, excellent. Everyone can hear me. Brilliant. Hello, Kairu. Hello, King Giga. So yes, I thought we would do our usual study the feature focus video thing first, then do some JWE2 afterwards. Hello, Monster and Guillermo. Just a few things to sort of background stuff first. My asthma has come back really badly in the last week, so please bear with me if I don't shout, scream, talk really loudly, and bear with me if I occasionally have to take a pause. Yeah, it's been really bad the last few days, so do bear with. And I have finally watched Rebirth, as some of you may or may not know, but I'm not going to talk about my thoughts about Rebirth because there's a video coming out next Wednesday, so I'm not going to give too much away. I might answer some questions, but I'm not going to give too much away on my thoughts before that video, when I'm on stream. And yeah, right, so let's get through this. What I'll do is I'll play the whole thing through with sound first, and then we'll do our usual, go through it with a fine-tooth comb.
Welcome back, park managers. In this module, we'll be focusing on sculpting those grand, visionary parks. You'll be molding the land and lakes to create the perfect environment for your dinosaurs and guests. Moving mountains is surprisingly easy with the tools available. Build upwards to add elevation to your park, or dig down to create impressive valleys and canyons with rocky cliffs or ramps to form gradual inclines.
I've just seen a couple of things in
with
this
a
feature
wide variety
focus
of rocks and foliage. Swiftly cover large areas of enclosures and decorate the finer details. And it's not just the land to think about. Add shallow or deep water to form lakes and even waterfalls for your guests and dinosaurs to enjoy. With all these tools, you can create beautiful natural enclosures and spectacular sights within your parks.
Whoever they have
be sure
making
to watch
their
the rest of our
parks has
modules
clearly
for
been
further training on managing your parks.
Watching Evo, personally, like the quality of built park that in these videos, it's so much better than Frontier's usual standard that someone has got to have been watching Evo or the big Evolution 2 builders, because these are so much better than the sort of stuff they were putting out for Jurassic World Evolution 2's launch. I knew it, Evo. I knew it all along. Okay, so there are a few things about this video, but I will say I'm generally disappointed at how little they're giving away in this video. And there's one or two things that do concern me about this video. But we'll go through it slowly. Hello, Color Beta. Generally, before I start, what were your guys' opinions of this particular feature focus? What did you guys think of this little 1 minute long video? Nothing new. This is the weakest one. It feels like there was nothing new. Too focused on finding stuff in the background. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, no new species. One thing I would say, still, I absolutely still love the pink cherry blossom trees and such. The Japanese biome might end up being my favorite. I have a suspicion. you know I love flowers and gardening, so... And Evo pointed it out to me, but I too also think it is exceedingly cruel to stick at least, what, 3 Quetzalcoatlus in a single tiny aviary dome at the back. It's so nasty and mean. However, that does also point out that, at least as far as it looks, the aviary domes are going to be the same height as they have always been. So that's a bit disappointing. This is the same thing we saw in the trailer. This chalet is the one we see in the trailer being put down. I can't wait for all the American players to call it a chalet. This is just a slightly different view. I mean, this is quite interesting to see that we've got actually like 3 different designs of chalet here. Like, we've got the one we see them placed down in the trailer. We've got like this more... I mean, I suppose you'd call the big brown one on the mountainside like an alpine, like an Alps ski lodge sort of style. Then we've got like more of a sort of, I want to say, European sort of chateau style. And then slightly down the path we have another version which looks similar to the mid version, but it looks like they've taken more bits out of it. So it is nice to see sort of like quite a lot of difference even in just the structures they're placing down. Although, did people notice how they've used like the really wide path from the chalet here, and then we have like the medium width path stuck on the end here, and it just looks so ugly. Like, if me and Evo had seen that, we were like, nope, there's no way we would be allowing that. We would be doing the job properly. The other thing I would have to say about this shot is the guests seem to be pretty much the same. I don't see any children here. I don't see any much sort of better guest mechanics. They're all doing the same sort of, let's randomly point at something in the distance and can you see them clumping down in the corner. So it looks like the guests probably haven't been changed. We'll have to wait and see about that. And then we have another lovely shot of the Malta biome. Again, nothing new here. This is just the same place we saw in the trailer. Although, something funky is going on with the aviary in the back corner. Having, like, zoomed it in and had a closer look, it looks like the structural girders from inside the aviary dome have been sort of stacked up outside of it. Now, I don't know whether that's intentional through, like, modular building, or whether it's just a visual graphic bug. It's difficult to tell. But something is clearly not right about the aviary in the background. There's something definitely weird about it. And then we have just a better shot of the tropical park that they've made. As Evo quite rightly pointed out, a lot of these buildings are not connected to path, including the suicidal zipline. So the fact that these buildings are placed on water, perfectly fine. I'm not going to take as like, oh, this is what we can do in game. I'm going to just assume everything here has been positioned to make a nice shot for this particular video. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. I like the art style though, and there's definitely no new animals or anything in these shots. Then we have our nice little intro. I have to say, I like the design aesthetic of the DIN, like the hexagons, the lighter blue, the orange coloration. It's a nice artistic style, I think, for me. It's quite a refreshing from the standard blue of Jurassic World Evolution 1 and 2. Now, there is something interesting here And I'm going to... And I'm not talking about the mountain. What I'm talking about is something else. What I'm going to do is... where is the speed? Where is speed? Playback. Speed. Okay. Slower. What I want folks to do is watch very carefully the baby T-Rex. In fact, what I'll do is I will expand this even bigger. Just have a close look at the baby T-Rex in the center of the screen as it moves away.
It's surprisingly easy with the...
And you will see, I'll go back so you can all see, you will see a slight strange blurring or sort of artifacting around it. You can see it quite a bit on the shadow. This indicates that they're running with DLSS on, NVIDIA's frame improving ability. DLSS is basically where NVIDIA graphics cards render everything at a lower resolution and then upscale it with AI to match the resolution of the monitor that they're recording. You get this weird artifacting or blurring as a side effect of the AI upscaling. This indicates that they're not running it natively, probably in order to ensure a stable frame rate. Now, there's nothing wrong with that inherently. All I would say is that could indicate that the game's frame rate at the moment is a bit unstable. And yes, you can see it on the adult one as well. It's something I noticed because I run, or used to run, DLSS on JWE2, and it would do the same thing there. But yes, we get to watch them build the mountain. I have to say, I still think the way it automatically places rocks is really kind of ugly. And the fact that there doesn't seem to be a way of turning it off, at least in this particular menu, makes me a bit concerned. I want to manually be able to place rocks or use the automated system. I don't want them all to be automated. I want to be able to just create a ridge and not have it make rocks. It does look a bit like chocolate. Goddamn, now I want chocolate, color beta. Why would you say such a thing? But yes, I think this does demonstrate the extremes, though. What they've basically done is put Kyodenic's mod in the game with some extra fancy stuff, really, haven't they? This seems like a classic case of Frontier adding a toggle for auto rocks in a free update down the line. Oh god, how long do you think it's going to take them to give us infinite feeders again? And then we see them digging a nice like gouge here. I do wonder, having seen them do this, I wonder how the animals are going to interact with these sort of extreme environments or extreme terrain deformations. Because we all know that in Jurassic World Evolution 2, you can make like a 90-degree vertical angle and the animal will climb up it. I'm curious to see how the passability system of terrain works. Because they've said, oh, you can use water as a barrier and you can use the environment as a barrier now. But how, like, what are the how steep will it be required? Because Planet Zoo, if I remember correctly, they have like a they have a camera view that you can turn it on, and it shows where terrain is passable to animals and where it is not, so that you can figure out why your animal keeps escaping over the terrain you've created. They're gonna kind of have to give us something like that in order to help us, really. There's an awful lot of rocks here as well, isn't there? Whoever designed these enclosures, they love to place their rocks. I think maybe too many rocks, personally, but that's just my preference. Love the waterfall in the background, though. Very nice. Have to say the T-Rex skins don't look that much better. Then we see them use the ramp tool again. I have a feeling this is actually going to be quite difficult to use, because you're in a, like, not in a... We already know how difficult it is when you're building in Jurassic World Evolution 2 to, like, view something from above. You can't view something directly 100% from above. The camera doesn't let you. And when you're doing a ramp like this, really you need to be able to view it from the side so that you can, like, figure out the angle you want. And also the distance. I think some of these tools are going to take time to learn how to use. Some of them might end up being a little bit clunky. I do see here there's like a there's a slope setting, so I assume that you can set the angle of the slope you want it to create. I kind of wish there was a distance setting as well, so that you could create an like a preset distance as opposed to dragging it out every time. Because if you want to create, like, symmetrical ramps, like, how are you going to do symmetrical ramps if you can't determine the length? Also, I do, because that ramp is so impossibly steep. I wonder if guests are still going to be able to climb up, like, impossibly steep path. The foliage button has a rock on it. It does, so I assume they're just going to confine them into the same tab, unlike Jurassic World Evolution 2, where every time I want to get a rock, I end up going to the tree tab. Because I'm stupid and I think rocks count as environment, but they don't. Or is it the other way? No, it's trees don't count as environment, do they? Only rocks do. Whoever came up with that should be given stern words. That's what I'm going to say. Stern words. Yeah, the new textures are better. I'm not a big fan of this grass. This grass colour looks a bit washed out, personally. Looks a bit pale for me. I would have liked it to be a little more green in it. We have the nice Stegosaurus exhibit, where they just ruin anyone being able to see anything by placing down a million trees. I mean, look how much they put down. I do like this long grass. Stay out of the long grass. That gets placed down with them. That's quite a nice new plant type. Frontier is rocking the out of this game, let's say. That's a terrible pun. I wonder if it will go totally the other way, like in Prehistoric Kingdom, and the guests will start climbing over buildings. They're all secretly Spider-Man. The trees look... Yeah, they obviously haven't changed the trees that much. So, this is kind of like the big thing for me. This is like the biggest thing about this, is not only like how much foliage we have. I mean, look how far this bar goes down. I mean, this is absolutely full of it, and there's still quite a lot to go. We have the align to surface control, which is very important. The angle snap control. Finally an angle snap control. I hope that's for everything, not just the trees. And then we have obviously the controls at the side, the edit height, snap to terrain, rotate, free rotate, toggle angle snap, and advanced move, which are all pretty standard controls for most of these modular building games. Prehistoric Kingdom has the same. We get to watch them, like, so you know, we've seen these before. There's your your XYZ movement ones. This is your rotational ones. And then you have like a big blue size it up one. So we're going to have full control over all of the plant life and vegetation. So I hope Evo is going to enjoy spending 1,000,000 hours making every enclosure now. And I hope I'm going to enjoy spending 1,000,000 hours making every garden now, as I carefully determine the height and size of every piece of placeable foliage. I suppose this is kind of one area where I'm anti-modular building. Because I'm like, okay, yes, it gives us a lot of control, but they could have just given us a number of plants that are different sizes without us having to use modular building. And I suppose that's the one big question I have about Jurassic World Evolution 3 that I'm not 100% convinced of yet, and that is the modular building an improvement, or is it going to be a detriment? I'm the opposite. I like modular building for plants and rocks, but when it comes to buildings, I don't know. That's interesting. I have to say, all the menus are very clean. You know, they have the small boxes at the bottom. It all looks pretty tidy. Watch them placing down the deep water. Nice to see that even the devs have the problem with the terrain not being at water level correctly, hence the really awkward looking thing behind it. Now, Evo pointed out here that it didn't seem to be placing water where it should. Now, I honestly think it's hard to tell because I haven't got the contour lines here. But what I think is happening is I think this patch of sand is actually slightly raised up. Oh, there's a nest at the bottom. Is there? Oh, is that a nest? Oh, I see. So it won't let you put water in front of the nest. This is the hitbox for the nest, right? Because I thought it was just like a ridge or raised up area. Oh well, in that case, nothing much to say. But yeah, we see them placing down the waterfalls. I love this waterfall placing system. This again is probably, I think, one of the best things that they've added, is how well it places these waterfalls. Just place water at the top of the cliff, drag it to the side of the cliff, and it'll make water for you. Brilliant. I suspect that sometimes we are going to have to, like, do it more than once to get the sort of waterfall shape we want. But it looks absolutely brilliant. And then we have swimming Spino, lovely. And Stego. I'm going to upset Evo here. I think the Stegosaurus is still really bad in its skin design. My parks are going to be 87% waterfall. Ah. Apart from your waterfall park, which will be 100% waterfall, Evo. Look, I'm sorry, Evo, but I have never liked Evolution's Stegosaurus design. I have never liked Jurassic Park's Stegosaurus design. Only Walking with Dinosaurs has ever managed to make the Stegosaurus look good, as far as I'm concerned. I really do love that shot, though. Heretic, says Guillermo. All Stegos are good. True, yes, Stegosaurus is good, whatever, but I think they could have done with a better skin. I really do love that shot, though. The hotel building, I assume hotel building, in the middle of the waterfall. I hope we're going to actually be able to do something like that. But of course, it's very, very dependent on how the modular building system is going to work with the guests. Because we don't have bridges. So, are they going to be able to interact with the modular building elements? If they do, then we can make bridges. But if they don't, really we need that modular building feature to really know for a fact what we can do and what we can't do. I'm not sure how they'll handle variants in Jurassic World Evolution 3. It would be less of a workload if we didn't get them, but it would be a shame to lose variants for animals that look better when they're the movie variant. I would hope that they keep the variants, personally. I would miss the Jurassic Park 3, Pteranodon, and Brachy. We know that the... Have we seen the Jurassic Park 3 Pteranodon? I thought we had. Or is that a misremembering? Bridges, Color Beta, I'm with you. Bridges are like one of my #1 most wanted features. It's also on my list of like 5 things the game absolutely has to do to make me buy it. So if they don't have them, they're gonna have to convince me to still buy it after that. Imagine if we lost Jurassic World Evolution Iguanodon for Dominion Iguanodon. Kairu, if they did that, I would also protest outside their headquarters. Same as if they got rid of Hwango. There's the Stegos again in their nice rocky valley. Again, I know it sounds really weird to say, but it's like it's so many rocks that it looks untidy. Kind of unnatural. There's so many rocks, it feels kind of unnatural to me. They've redesigned the viewing log ever so slightly. Changed the color scheme inside, so it shows up a little more. And then we have, obviously, for the briefest of moments, where is it? There it is. Just the briefest of moments. The baby Spinosaurus at the very bottom. Why didn't they just show it? I mean, someone looked at that video and was like, yeah, that's fine. All they had to do was shift it up a little bit. We wouldn't have lost any of what we're seeing, and we would have seen it properly. And then that's it. That's literally it. It's... I'm going to leave it on this screen. I think this is... Actually, no. I'll leave it on... I'll leave it on this screen, because I think this is one of the nicest, nicer shots. It's fine, but it's not what I think they should be doing. There is this sort of... I've seen it around, this sort of idea of, oh, well, they're putting out some news, and some news is better than no news, so it doesn't matter if what we're being shown is pretty much not really very much at all. I don't agree. Planet Coaster 2, their like feature focus videos were at a minimum a quarter of an hour, and some went to nearly half an hour long. That was on top of gameplay streams and specific videos for it. So far, we have these 15-minute sections in their end-of-month streams, which don't seem to be being used for anything apart from summing up the stuff we have already seen. They've done that twice now. And these 2 minute, not even 2 minutes, 1 minute, 22 seconds long. And it's probably not even that, because most of the 22 seconds, well, most of there's like 20 seconds at the end, or it's just the pre-order it now so we can have your money sooner. Now, I have a suspicion that the feature focuses for Jurassic World Evolution 1 were longer. Actually, I'm going to quickly double check that, because I have them all saved. Videos for editing. Or rather, I did have them all saved. I might not have them anymore. Okay, no. But let me quickly... They're still on YouTube, aren't they? So let me quickly JWE2 feature focus. Thank you for bringing up all the flippin' JWE3 ones, YouTube. I specifically asked you for JWE2. They did one on scientists, didn't they? Park management. So I know they were about the same length, a minute long. So they haven't made them any bigger than what they were. So on the one hand, we're not losing anything, but on the other hand, it's like they haven't really learned their lesson, have they? They're not really showing very much. They're keeping a lot of things quiet. There could be a lot of reasons for that. Maybe they're trying not to spoil everything. Although, you know, games are not movies. I did see someone on Reddit be like, oh, I'm glad they're not showing us everything, so they're not spoiling it. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not a movie, it's a video game. Like, we want to see the stuff so we know what we can use it. Yeah, a roadmap would be nice, but I'm assuming we might get that after development and they find out how buggy and broken the game is. Sorry, that might be pessimistic of me, but let's be fair, that's exactly what happened the last time. And the time before that. The game's gonna leak anyway, watch. I hope not. But I can bet that they're not going to give like an early access code to that German magazine again. that one that leaked the trailer. I bet they're not going to get an early access code. I'm surprised they didn't ring up the RAF and send over a squadron of Lancasters to put the Germans in their place again for doing that. It'll be bug-ridden, then they'll do longer videos and focus stuff. I'm probably not watching the next Frontier Unlocked. All that those streams have been is just recaps. I'm not going to stream them anymore. I've decided that I'll just watch them. And if there's nothing new, then there's nothing new. I'm not going to stream them again. I'm not going to waste everybody's time again with them. But yeah, like, it didn't really give us much more information. We didn't really get to see most of the terrain tools in action here. It really doesn't tell us anything that we didn't already know. Apart from, boy jingo, those brushes make a lot of rocks, don't they? So, like, the only thing it showed us was them changing the size of a tree. Which they probably could have done in the modular building video next time. So, oh well, I guess. I've just spotted something of interest. Actually, I don't know how well it's going to be visible here. If I just make this bigger. Make this bigger again. And can I zoom this in? I'm pretty sure I can. Zoom. Where was that zoom again? Oh my god. Zoom to double. That didn't work. Anyway, okay. If you have a look at the side, you've got the categories for the modular building here. At the very bottom, there is one that looks like a fish tank. It's very clearly water with 3 fish and like a... Oh, you think that's where they put the lagoon decorations? Yeah, that's a good point. God damn it, Evo. I thought I'd discovered something. Oh. What do we think? Hang on though. What do we think? This weird, like, well, it looks like the save symbol or a copy symbol off a computer. All the rest are pretty self-explanatory. Then you've got like this 3D cube one, and then this like stickers or decals. Oh, maybe. Although I would have thought they would have been like in with this sign section. Geometric shapes. Stickers one could be prefabs. Don't know. Boy jingo, our parks are going to take forever to build now, aren't they? Oh, it's going to be horrible. Right. We have nothing more to say about this video. So I'm going to get Jurassic World Evolution 2 started. Bear with me one moment. I haven't been on JWE2 in a few weeks. I'm still really torn on the modular building aspect. there is a common response that I've seen on Reddit and even in Evo's comment section, and it's, you know, you don't have to modular build. You can just use prefabs. I'm not, however, 100% convinced. Let me just move over the stream. Oh, we moved over. Thank you. There we go. I'm not 100% convinced that I agree with that perception of modular building. Modular building will only be optional if Frontier keep providing new prefabs for people to use as development goes on. If all they do is give modular building people new parts to use, then it's not optional. That's just my opinion. I also think that the people who are going, oh yeah, but well, people will make stuff on the workshop we can download. That is kind of presupposing, though, that people make stuff on the, you know, and post it on the workshop for people to use. You know, you're relying on people to create stuff in lieu of the developers, and I'm not sure that's a good idea either. Less effort for Frontier, for sure. All I'm going to do for this session is just like continue doing random stuff, maybe sort out this these enclosures a bit. Might figure out what animals we go in here. As a minimum, I want the same number of ready-made buildings that we have in Jurassic World Evolution 2. I think we'll easily have that. I'm just not convinced about the whole, oh well, modular building, you don't have to use it. I think everyone is going to have to eventually use it. I mean, people now complain when they watch Evo streams and they complain about not being able to make a park like her. And they're still using prefabs. Can you imagine the complaints people are going to have about not being able to make good-looking parks when people start using modular building fully, you know? But yeah, the real question will be, is it a detriment? And the only way of knowing that will be to see how the player base goes and how the workshop goes after launch. I'll be keeping a very close eye on Steam charts after the game launches. I suspect that the game is going to launch really well. I think it might have better launch numbers than Jurassic World Evolution 2. I don't think it will match Jurassic World Evolution 1, but I think it will definitely match Jurassic World Evolution 2. But then I suspect it's going to drop off quite fast. I think a lot of people are just going to get it because, oh, look, babies. And then they're going to drop off because the building system is too complicated for them. Righto, Evo. Have fun. Thank you for tuning in. That's why I'm praying that both Dungliosius and Dimetrodon make it in. I don't care about Listro. Yeah, I don't really care about Listro either. But for every animal I don't care about, there is another one that I do care about that I think might not return. I do not care about Draco Rex. I think nor do I. I don't really care about Draco Rex either. It's one of those dinosaurs that I can do without. Ah, now. We were going to do environmental stuff here, weren't we? We were going to put like a raised up area here, but I've realized that if I I have that viewing dome here. I mean, between the two, I would probably use Draco Rex over Pachycephalosaurus, because the Pachycephalosaurus is just ugly. The posture is awful. The skins are terrible. And they cause me nothing but trouble in the bloody Jurassic Park 2 Chaos Theory mode. They were a pain in the ass. But and I'm gonna have to rejig these. Oh, balls! I just accidentally broke the. Gonna have to rejig the fencing. Your guests are concerned about the lack of shelters. Oh no. Terrible. Anyway. Oh, ballcocks. What new Pachycephalosaurid could be put into Jurassic World Evolution 3? Well, I would say none, because I think there are enough. But I would say if you're going to get rid of, say... Well, this is the thing, because I think if they get rid of, say, Draco Rex, I think it has to... I don't think you can replace it and still hit that, like, 80 dinosaur quota. I personally think, I mean, there are not that many actual species of Pachycephalosaurid. I think most of them are already in game. The only one that is not in game is Stegoceras or Stegoceras. And I think Stegoceras is actually considered a juvenile version of something else these days, so it's not even a full-on one. I'm tempted to move this and put it up here. I like that, actually. This brings me joy. The way this tree brush works does not bring me joy. Isn't every pachycephalosaurid now considered juvies or something else? The pachycephalosaurid dinosaur tree is... there's a lot of argument going on and stuff about it. You know, people keep saying that, oh, well, Steve, Moloch, and Pachycephalosaurus are the same animal. There's no confirmation on that. Okay? Just gonna put that out here and now. It's a theory. There's no confirmation. So until there's confirmation, they're separate animals as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, instead of another Pachycephalosaurid, why don't we put Plateosaurus in? I would be much more happy about that, personally. Is there an unusual gap here? Oh, the park is open, isn't it? I was wondering why my frame rate was a bit choppy. Let's hope they fix that, eh? Oh my. Yes, I now have Raptor's Rob's mod for adding lots new types of tree. Oh. That should be fun. I was just thinking about maybe doing something over here in this gap, but I kind of want this enclosure to be... I'm not... simple isn't the right word. Just more open because of the... obviously we have like the Dinocaris exhibit is like quite forested and tall, and then this desert enclosure is quite tall. Lots of stuff. So I'm thinking I might just make this one very open. kind of like a grassland. Hello, Smaug. Just gonna have a drink. I really hope they don't resell us tons of stuff, but I think that they will. And I think that they will purely because not enough people took a stand against it last time. Like, there were not many people that were willing, or I need to be careful about how I say this. I think generally more people weren't bothered about it than were, because of this very strange perception that DLC is optional, which in a way DLC is optional, but unfortunately I don't think you can always claim that, especially about content that's quite clearly just cut and being resold back to you, like the hybrid DLC was. You know, that content was deliberately cut from the game so it could be sold back to us. No other explanation for what happened to that at all. What I'm going to do is kind of use the sand brush, put it to like a low intensity, and just create like... maybe the sand brush is the wrong one. Maybe dirt one? Maybe that. Bugger. Let's try that again. I kind of just want to create like a rough walking tracks where they would have been walking around. And what I want to do is put the sort of planting and vegetation around them to make it look like they're regularly trodden paths. How successful was the secret species pack? Difficult to know because they don't ever give out like details on like DLC sale figures. So there's no way of really knowing how successful it was. All I would say is that they did get a lot of kickback for it. So you could say that even if it was a good sales success, they gave up a lot of credit with the audience to accomplish it. I think the DLC list on Steam is shown according to the ones that sold the most. Potentially. Wanted to add a little bit of color to this exhibit because it's a little bit green. Jow, I saw someone who made a video saying Jurassic World Evolution 3 should be treated as a new game iteration instead of a sequel after he spoke about people on Reddit saying it's a new game, so it's okay to resell species. I don't agree, and I can provide a very good explanation as to why. When EA brought out the new Sims game and then made everyone pay for the same content again in DLC packs, everybody got ticked off at them and said that they were a terrible video game company. When EA bring out a new FIFA game and it's the same players and they make everyone pay for the players again and blah blah blah, everyone calls them a terrible video game company. If you think that EA making people pay for Sims content again with each new game is wrong, which a lot of people did, then making people pay for DLC content like the hybrids again in Jurassic World Evolution 2 was wrong, and then doing it in Jurassic World Evolution 3 would also be wrong. That's how I look at it. It's solely dependent on what you think is and is not acceptable for a video game company to do. How far you're willing to go for one of your favorite video game companies is an entirely personal thing. But I mean, as you guys know, when it comes to Frontier, they have betrayed my trust too many times, and I no longer trust them. Which is why I haven't pre-ordered Jurassic World Evolution 3, and I will not pre-order it until I feel like they've earned a pre-order. At this point in time, like, there's no guarantee I'm going to buy Jurassic World Evolution 3. Like, there's none. like come October 21st, whether I play Jurassic World Evolution 3 on the day it comes out or not for you guys is entirely dependent on whether they earn that money from me. If they don't, then I won't be buying it. It is as simple as that. But, you know, not everyone is as stubborn about stuff as I am. I think that's perfectly acceptable for animals now, frankly. It's very, very, very simple, but I didn't want it to be overly complicated. Rebirth. Is this another waterfall I'm going to have to tidy up? What sort of dinosaurs should we put in there? I'm not sure. Visible, invisible, visible. And from here, these can all be invisible. And from there, it has to be that visible path, that visible fence again. It is what it is. Right, let's go find some dinosaurs to put in here. Maybe we don't have many ceratopsians. Maybe some ceratopsians. Alright, let's go and have a look at the species viewer. Do I have the accurate Sinoceratops mod? I do not. Smaug. Smaug, do you really want me to get started on a political subject? Hey, is the microphone echoing a bit? That might be because of Dane in the background, Kyrie. We are in the same room.
I'm sorry, I may be talking to people.
And politics. Yeah, no politics. We should probably have Iguanodon, considering we're a British park. We'll do Diabloceratops as well. The only thing I will say about the British internet laws is that I've seen a lot of mostly American YouTubers following it, and basically all of them have it totally wrong. Like, they're presenting it as censorship, and it isn't really censorship. There is a big difference between censorship and what the internet safety law is designed to do. I'm going to go with the Walking with Dinosaurs European Iguanodon colours for this guy. So males are Chaplin Valley and Pelophylax. Females will still be Pelophylax, they'll just be lighter green. So Salar del Huasco and Pelophylax. Diabloceratops, somebody requested, so let's go and have a look at this guy. Polacanthus is not in the park, but probably should be. So we'll put Polacanthus in. Oh no, Polacanthus is in the park. It's in the desert section. I quite like that on the frill. Now the difficulty is just finding like a skin tone to put it with. Want it to be different from green though. I think that's better. But we can't use yellow for the males, actually, because that's the same for the Iguanodon. So we will use the blue. So Death Valley and Pelophylax. Females will be no frill color. And we'll just make them grey. And it's quite a big enclosure, so I think we could do with one more species. Oh, the Rebirth review. Okay, so how it's going to work is this. Next Wednesday, there will be it's a TLDR review. It's about 24 minutes long, I think it was. Where's, let me just go and have a quick look at how long that turned out to be in the end. 2025. Actually, no, it turned out to be 13 minutes long. So that's the short review. It's going to be just a really It's a really quick, generalized look over like the plot, what I thought about the plot, the characters, the CGI, the music, the setting. Like, just a really quick, general look. Then, in a couple of weeks' time, there'll be a much longer review. That review is probably going to be hours long, because I'm literally going to go through the film with a fine-tooth comb and just really go through it all. Oh, we've got a couple of stegosaurs in the park already. You know what? We're going to have Sauropelta. I think Sauropelta is unfairly criticized, and I also think it's going to be one of those animals we miss or will be cut. So. Make it a stream. The problem with making it a stream is it won't get as many views as me doing it as a video. But what I'll probably do is on the Friday after the long review goes out, I'll probably do a stream where we all talk about basically what I said and like sharing ideas and that sort of thing. But if you guys want like a quick generalize, you know, something, my thoughts without giving too much away. It is a puzzling movie. I've watched it twice now, and it's a movie that confuses me in some cases. Because it feels like the movie is not 100% sure what it wants to be. I also think that's very fair, like calling it uninspired, disappointing, and generic. I think that is a very fair assessment. But fundamentally, I feel that the movie Rebirth is a really good case study for why you should only ever have somebody making the film who actually believes in the thing you're making it about. If your director turns around and says, feathered dinosaurs are just giant chickens and they're not scary. And if your writer turns around and says, I had no idea how to continue the plot from Dominion, then those two people should not be making the film. You need to go and find somebody who does have an idea and who can film dinosaurs to be scary, regardless of whether they have feathers or not. And I think Rebirth is a perfect case study of what happens if you don't do that. I'll say it again, if feathers aren't scary, then how are furry animals like bears and wolves scary? Well, I'm sorry, but if feathers aren't scary, then why do most people generally consider the Therizinosaurus scene in Jurassic World Dominion as one of the only best parts of that film? You know. People will literally get their ass kicked by turkeys. Exactly. Chaplin Valley and Pelophylax. I think Gareth believes in old depictions of dinosaurs living in swamps. Yes, I think Gareth is unfortunately stuck in Godzilla mode when it comes to dinosaurs. I think he sees all... Like, I don't think he can see an animal as scary if it isn't 200-foot tall, walks oddly upright, and comes from a swamp. I think also what it demonstrated for me was that Gareth Edwards' Rogue One was sheer dumb luck. The only reason Rogue One was any good with Gareth Edwards in charge of it was sheer luck. You know, a stopped clock is right twice a day. Rogue One just happened to be the time he actually got it right. His Godzilla movie he made, I don't really like, and Rebirth, I wasn't that impressed with either. Let's go get the Diabloceratops. Anything that looks like an emu or cassowary is something I don't want to mess with. Exactly. I also think there's a lot about Rebirth which is just inherently really lazy. Again, I'm not going to go into specifics, but I do agree with what Evo said about it feeling like it was just a first draft, and they just went with the first draft and no one really thought about it after that. Why are all you guys down here? And move the animals around a bit. Maybe put some water up here. Just to try and get them to move about the environment a little bit. Because they definitely seem stuck right down at the bottom. That's a little better. Yeah, like there's just no defense for saying that feathered dinosaurs can't be scary. It is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard him, like a director, say about a dinosaur film. It's just plain ridiculous. I also... This might classify as calling somebody out, but I don't really care. I also happened to watch Gaming Beaver's review of Rebirth earlier on while I was editing. And he said something that I think is one of the worst things you can say about a film. And that is, he said... that when he was watching, he said that the film is a film where you don't really have to think. Like, he said that he didn't have to think very much about the film. And for me, that just says it all. Any movie where you go into it and you don't think about the film, that's a terrible movie. Yeah, this might shock people, but the other day I went to the cinema and I deliberately went and watched Fantastic Four instead of a dinosaur film. Now, anyone who knows me knows that when it comes to superhero movies, I'm not really a massive superhero fan. But I was willing to go and watch Fantastic Four. And I had a massively better time with Fantastic Four than I did with Rebirth.
Also, the fact that if you took me to another dinosaur movie on my birthday, I would have killed you.
Fantastic Four felt honest and felt endearing and felt... It felt like it was made by people who wanted to make it. Rebirth kind of is... It feels exactly the opposite. I like Fantastic Four more than Rebirth and Superman. Ah, interesting you should say that. So, I also saw the new Superman. I'm with you. I think Fantastic Four was better. I enjoyed Superman. My buddy Nerd Guy, he absolutely adores the Superman film. I thought the Superman film was okay, but as someone who doesn't really know anything about the lore of Superman, and like I don't know all the characters and stuff. Some of the beats just didn't resonate with me. I also didn't particularly like Lex Luthor as a bad guy. I thought he was... I didn't find him evil, I found him annoying. I said to Nerd Guy, my problem with Lex Luthor in this movie is that he has Kylo Ren disease. That is a bad guy that's just a brat, basically a selfish, bratish child you just want to slap around the face a bit and tell them to shut up. Like, I didn't find Lex Luthor particularly evil, just kind of annoying. But I did like the Superman film. It did make me laugh quite a few times. I thought there was some good moments in it. I liked his depiction of Superman, especially. I liked the fact as well that both the Superman film and the Fantastic Four film, they were so bright and energetic and colourful and unashamedly happy. I'm so sick of superhero films where they had to be dark and gritty and all the rest of it. It's nice to see a superhero films that are just like colourful and cheerful. What a crazy year. Indeed, Color Beta, I never thought I would willingly go and watch a superhero movie instead of a Jurassic movie. That's never happened before. Stop shouting 1A, King Giga. You don't have a robot to order about, or a clone to order about. I think this is all well done. So really we don't have much to do apart from decorative work and doing a few things over here and finishing up over here, really. Then I need to go around and finish putting in all the lane dividers and the roundabout centers and why are you guys not moving around very much? And what else is there to do? There really isn't that much more to do here. This place is basically done once the decorations and stuff over here are done. So. A ceratopsian scene could be really scary, especially if you see whatever has been impaled on its horns. Yeah, like... Yeah, I just have so many problems with Rebirth. I don't know what I was really expecting. I did give it, you know, I was willing to give it a chance. But, I don't think it achieved anything near what it should really have been capable of doing. And I think that is my... I think that is my biggest comment about the film that I could probably make, is that this movie had Gareth Edwards as a director, the guy who made a Godzilla film. It also had the person who wrote the original script. If those two individuals cannot make a good Jurassic movie, then the franchise is dead. You don't get a better dream team than the guy who made a Godzilla film that generally brought Godzilla back to the big screen, Rogue One, and the guy who wrote Jurassic Park. Like, that is such a strong combination that for them to create what they created is kind of damning, in my opinion. And I do think it proves that perhaps Jurassic should have been allowed to stay off screens for a little while longer, until they had a, something to make a film about. Although I'm sure some people will say I'm being too harsh about the film when they watch my review. Corethosaurus, Jurassic should have been allowed to die. The ending of The Lost World would have been the perfect way to end this franchise. Yes. Personally, I think Jurassic World would have been fine as a standalone film. Like, I honestly think that you could have just made that film and just been like, yeah, we're not going to make any more. We just made Jurassic World as like a nostalgic callback, and just so you guys could see like a what if of the park being open and stuff. Like, that would have been fine. A nostalgic, like, little blast from the past movie, one and done sort of job. But Universal had to scalp the film for every amount of money that they could. Oh, Nicholas. Okay, Nicholas, you have actually just struck upon something I do actually want to talk about because it really, really pissed me off in that film. Is them taking the original Jurassic soundtracks and just putting them in the film without any care or due attention. In one case, for no reason, and for the other case, to copy, basically scene for scene, something from Jurassic Park 1. It really infuriated me. Oh, harsh, man. The Titanosaurus scene had the Jurassic Park helicopter music in the background. But what got me mad was that they took two of the original themes. One theme called Journey to the Island, which is the soundtrack that plays in Jurassic Park 1 when they're in the helicopter with Hammond and Malcolm. It's the same soundtrack that plays, but it's called Flying Over the Island from Jurassic Park 3 when they are flying over the Brachiosaurus herds. That soundtrack was just played for a random seaplane flying around to go and pick up the mercenaries. Like, absolutely no reason for it to be there whatsoever. The second theme, they basically they stole the whole scene of with the Titanosaurs. They played the exact same music for the Titanosaurs as they did the Brachiosaurus, which is generally considered to be the Jurassic Park theme. That's what it is in the OST. It's like the Jurassic Park theme is that theme. And again, like I say, they just took it and used it there. Verbatim, basically, to copy the original scene. And it ticked me right off. There's a difference between referencing a scene and you copying it, plagiarizing it because you can't come up with something better. And that's what I consider that Titanosaur scene to be. It's plagiarism. Pure and simple. None of the sauropods in the franchise will ever come close compared to the Brachiosaurus. No, I agree. We've seen the sauropod be majestic so many times now in nearly every movie. Yeah, I'm so bored of it always being a sauropod as well. where is... Can you imagine a scene with an angry Shunosaurus or a Margosaurus trampling everybody? Well, this is the thing. David Cope said he couldn't think of a way to continue the story on after Dominion. Really? Not any ideas at all? Not a single one? So I'm not being funny, but I could think of, like, so many ways. And it's really not difficult either. Although, if I'm being honest, there is one thing that the film does which makes me more annoyed. Well, not more annoyed than any other, but is probably the thing I have the biggest sort of bugbear about, and that is, why is it called Rebirth? The title makes no sense. Like, nothing about the film is about bringing something back to life. More like robbing life from a mainland species. I thought the title was going to allude to a prehistoric disease coming back to life or something, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I've been thinking about this for like days now. I don't get the title. Like, I have racked my brains. Nothing about the film seems to be connected with the title. Honestly, they should have called it Jurassic World 4. I mean, it would have made more sense, you know. Jurassic Park Isla Sorna. Oh! Don't mention Isla Sorna to Universal. They've forgotten it exists. Or maybe they don't want to remember it exists after Jurassic Park 3. Which I still say is not that bad of a film, personally. There's some who are still butthurt by the Rex versus Spino fight. I mean, I don't know why. The T-Rex smashing its way through the Spinosaurus skeleton in Jurassic World was basically a not too subtle, like, victory thing from the T-Rex, so I think people should grow up. I feel bad for Isla Sorna, Matanceros, Tacaño, Pena, and Muerta. They got shafted. Glad JWE did them justice. Shame we never got to go back in the sequels. Well, from what I'm aware of, like, there wasn't anything park related on the other islands other than Sorna and Nublar. Like, there was nothing on any of them. Not canonically, anyway. So it isn't much of a big deal. But I suppose, like, the other way of looking at that is they could have reused the 5 deaths somewhere and had them go and, you know, investigate them, and they didn't. I mean, that was my big problem with Fallen Kingdom. It's like, here you are, like, trying to find somewhere to place the dinosaurs, and it's like, you've got somewhere. It's called Isla Sorna. There is a location already for this. It's called Isla Sorna. Just go and put the dinosaurs on Isla Sorna. But like I say, Universal kind of wants to forget Isla Sorna exists. Imagine if Man's Core Island. Oh, look, I don't really care about Camp Cretaceous either. I honestly think that's like one of the worst things that's ever been done for the franchise. So I can't. I'm not going to get involved in that sort of conversation. Has everyone forgotten Sanctuary? Well, yes, I think everyone did after Fallen Kingdom. Yes. Oh, I would love a cup of tea, thank you. Could I have some of the peach? Oh. You know what I would love to see? And this is like maybe going way off my usual comfort zone. But I would love to see something like an anime but for Jurassic Park. Make it animated, but make it adult animated. So, you know, make it gory, make it serious. I think that would be really cool to see. Would you prefer they do that for a novel miniseries or live action? I would be okay with either, to be honest. Novel deserves a live-action miniseries. It does. I mean, I would rather they did the novel as a live-action sort of multi-part show than a film, just so that they could do it justice. That's definitely for sure. Right, folks, we are at 11 o'clock, so I'm going to end the stream here, and thank God, because I think, as you can already hear, my voice is almost like completely gone. But thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been quite a lively stream. Don't forget to like the stream if you haven't already, and if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. You know, I do lots of dinosaur content, but there's lots of other game content that the rest of us make, so do consider subscribing. I'll be back on Sunday. Not sure if it will be a dinosaur game. Might be The Isle. Might be War Thunder again, actually. We'll see. But yeah, I'll be back on Sunday. Until then, I hope the rest of you enjoy the rest of your Friday night. I hope the rest of your weekend goes great, and I will see you next time. Until then, stay safe and good night.